Now, what might change between, moving from LTI 1.1 to LTI 1.3 in terms of the workflow? Well, first thing you're going to see when you do that is in the assignment inbox itself, you're going to see a rostering of students, which means that instructors can actually submit on behalf of a student, not just resubmit. And you will also see assignment copy. So Turnitin has recently released an assignment copy tool, should you wish to use this to copy your LTI 1.1 assignments into your new course. And when you use this tool, you will actually convert those LTI 1.1 assignments to LTI 1.3 assignments. And this tool also allows you to bulk change all date fields as needed, including the start date, the end date, and the feedback release date. But what doesn't change is the student submission workflow. Nothing in the student submission workflow changes at all. Instructors will still have access to all the Turnitin rubrics, quick marks, and pure mark questions they had when they were using LTI 1.1. And they will also have access to past LTI 1.1 assignments, but students and instructors will still have access to those assignments. They'll still be able to see them from within D2L Brightspace. Other things that are not changing, assignment analytics for LTI 1.3 are the same, and instructors will still have access to past LTI 1.1 assignment analytics as needed. And in terms of D2L course copy, if you prefer to use the D2L course copy workflow, it works for LTI 1.3 just as it did for LTI 1.1 assignments. Now, this is kind of a migration overview. During the migration process, there are certain key steps that we proposed here for this journey. The pre-migration stage is the planning stage for the institution, while the migrating stage consists of vetting and maybe testing as required by the institution and launching the new integration. And the post-migration stage is supporting your users in the LTI 1.3 assignment workflow once you've transitioned to it. So in terms of the pre-migration stage, there may be some key questions to consider internally when it comes to planning your migration. So first of all, you'll probably want to collaborate with your institution's tech leads to decide on a process and a timeline that works best for your institution. Key questions you might want to ask would be things like, do you need to vet and test the integration in a test environment before putting it in production? Are your stakeholders aligned on next steps and a timeline for the migration? How are you going to communicate the change to users, and when will those communications go out? And will you need to develop any additional support materials that are specific to your institution? During phase 2, there may be some key things to consider when vetting and testing the LTI 1.3 integration, which may be required by your institution, and then of course deploying it for use. When it comes to integrating LTI 1.3 in a test environment, if that is required, please make note of these two things. The first one is, if you are testing integration in a test environment and you have used the same account ID for an LTI 1.1 integration as you have in production, you need to set up a separate Turnitin sub-account for the LTI 1.3 integration. And I'll go into more detail on that in just a moment. If, however, you are testing the integration in a test environment and you have used a different account ID here than for the 1.1 integration that you have in production, be sure to enable the auto migrate links option when creating the deployment. And again, I'll talk more about that and have screenshots for that in just a second. Other things that you might want to consider: test assignment creation, student submissions, access to reports, grading feedback and grade passback, course copy, and any special workflows. Another note, again, if you have the same account ID for an LTI 1.1 integration and test as you did in production, you will not be able to test accessing past LTI 1.1 assignments. This testing can occur in production, as you need to use the same Turnitin account ID for the LTI 1.3 integration that was used for your LTI 1.1 integration in order to view them. Now, this testing can be done at the course level if that is your preference. If, however, you've used a different account ID for an LTI 1.1 integration and test than you did in production, you will be able to test accessing past LTI 1.1 assignments. And you will also be able to test converting past LTI 1.1 assignments to new LTI 1.3 assignments when those previous LTI 1.1 assignments are copied into a new course. Now, Turnitin has provided migration documentation to assist admins, instructors, and students. One thing you might want to consider is will your institution want to create any additional support materials that are specific to your school with your branding on it, etc. Now, once all of these have been addressed, maybe you've finished all your testing, you've got all your material together, it will be time to set up the 1.3 integration in your production environment again, using the same Turnitin account ID that was used for your LTI 1.1 integration there. And lastly, in the last phase, once you start using the LTI 1.3 integration in your production environment, there may be additional troubleshooting and communication that needs to take place for your users. And if you find there are any issues that you are unable to resolve, please contact Turnitin support for assistance.